Okay, so the 2014 sample circle question. The centre of the circle lies on that line. The x-axis and y-axis are tangents to the circle. So there's two key pieces of information. The centre of the circle lies on that line, and the x-axis and y-axis are tangents to the circle. To get an idea of what you're looking at here, it's a good idea to sketch this line. So it's fairly basic on how we sketch a line. We should all be reasonably familiar with that. To sketch that line, so we're going to sketch this line at the x-axis. Y is 0, so substitute in 0 for y, and at the y-axis x is 0, and that gives you the points at which this line crosses the x-axis, which is 6, 0, and the y-axis, which is 0, 3. Now the second part, the x-axis and y-axis are tangents to the circle, so that means they have to be in quadrant 1 and 2, because the centre is on that line. Okay, the centre is on this line somewhere. So there are two circles that satisfy that equation. So the first centre, you could maybe nearly have a little guess. You can see from the plot there that it seems to be there, because if the x-axis and y-axis are tangents to the circle, then they're both the x-axis and y-axis are both the same distance away from the circle, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to try to draw this. Now obviously the smaller it is, the more awkward it is, but so it's very, very difficult to draw, so I'll just try to draw it freehand. So that would be 1. So obviously the radius is 2, then 1, 2. So that's going to be one circle. So what's the coordinates of this centre here? Because to find the equations of two circles, you need to know their centre and you need to know their radius. Well, that distance there is the radius, as is that distance there, which is also the radius. So the coordinates of that point are R. Because, for example, if radius is 2, because the y-axis is a tangent, then it will go over to x equals 2, and it will go up as far as y equals 2. So therefore, you can call it HH either, it's no real issue. So RR is on that line, because it tells you the centre of the circle lies on that line. So RR is on x plus 2y minus 6 equals 0. And we can solve this because there's only one unknown. So x is r, y is r, equals 6. So 3r equals 6, r equals 2. So therefore the centre of the first one is 2, 2, and the radius is 2. Now the next one is up here somewhere, and you can probably guess from looking at this diagram, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like it's going to be minus 6, 6. So just taking from that again, because the x-axis and the y-axis are tangents to that circle, then it's in the second quadrant, so the coordinate this time will be minus r. Remember, this is the radius, because if it's a tangent, that distance is the radius, and that distance is a radius. But because this is a negative value of x, because it's to the left of the y-axis, the coordinate this time is minus r. So minus r is also on x plus 2y minus 6 equals 0. So minus r plus 2r equals 6, r equals 6. So therefore the centre of the next equation, or the next circle, is minus 6, 6 with a radius of 6, because r is 6 now. So then the equations of the two circles, x minus 2 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 2 squared, which is 4. And there's no real need to go expanding it out any more than that. It doesn't ask you to give it in any particular way. So x minus 6 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals 6 squared, which is 36.